goodness, look at the flies. So I've got my father... What was that? I've got my father-in-law's old enclosed trailer hooked to the Ram rig up there. And the old girl she's been sitting dormant for quite a few years. Hasn't really been used much. But what we've got planned for tomorrow morning, she'll be the perfect rig. So we've got new rubber on all four corners. And this left tail light, the turn sig, that's a good time saver, turn sig, wasn't working. Otherwise I have lights, so we'll clean or take care of that in a bit. But these flies, woo! This winter we had an unusual cold snap for Kansas. I mean, it got down below, usually it'll get for a couple days around 0 degrees Fahrenheit. Sometimes it won't, but man, it went, I don't know, what was it, 10 or 15? I can't remember anymore, below 0, which is pretty unusual. So anyway, let's change out a bulb. I'm going to vacuum up some serious flyage. Tires are taken care of, wiring's good. If I pulled this often with this truck, I think I'd drop that hitch down a little bit farther. As you can see, most of the weight seems to be on the rear axle, and you'd want that about another inch or 2 lower up front. But what we're hauling's pretty heavy, so I'll put most of it up front anyway, and that'll tend to equalize the weight on the 2 axles there, I think. So, not a big deal. So, let's get busy. Every guy has his own favorite parts store, I suppose. But I tell you what, if you have a bumper to bumper in your area, I probably use 2 or 3 on a regular basis, depending on, since I live in the middle of nowhere, depending on which direction I'm going, I go to that particular parts store. And every one I've ever been in, it's just good old boys that have experience with cars. And I'm talking typically from way back. And they just know what they're about. And they often hire older guys that know what they're doing as well. You know, guys retirement age that are looking for a part-time job or something. And I'm just never disappointed, it seems. Did that snap in right? Let's see if that works. Well, I can tell from here it's blinking. Yeah, and that one's going good still. That one's great. Should have just the tail light. Should have brake light. This can of silicone's only about, I don't know, 10 years old. Yeah, it still works. Give her a little slickum to get started there. There we go. All right. It is bug sucking time. So I'll just tell you right now what's going on. So in the little town that I grew up by, there were primarily two automotive families in the area. Mine, that I was 4th generation mechanic. I guess I kind of still consider myself a mechanic, even though full-time I don't do that. My great-grandpa started working on cars in the early 19-teens, and we were Chevy enthusiasts from way back. And then the other family, a couple miles south of town, they were Ford enthusiasts, and you know, we always kept it on friendly terms. But he's actually the man that I went to. He went through the head on the 48 Chevy project, and he let me help him on the 292 project. Anyway, he's been doing it for years and years, and he contacted me and asked me if I wanted all the Chevy parts and pieces, engine parts and pieces that he's collected over the years that he just thought were more valuable and might be, you know, better saved. So I said, yeah, we're going to make some kind of deal. I don't know, but we're going to go pick them up and go through everything, see what all is there and what it actually came out of. There is some high performance stuff as far as, you know, 4-bolt main small blocks, and there's a 454, and there's some early heads with big old valves in them and stuff like that. So hopefully some Stovebolt stuff. I know there's one complete 6-cylinder, and I am sweating like a pig. I've got to turn that fan back on. I'll probably be too busy to film anything there, but maybe someone could have a camera while we're loading. I don't know. But if not, I'll get back with you tomorrow or the next day, and we will take a look at what we got. Man, you talk about your flop sweat. That was terrible. It's been kind of hot. Well, it's been very hot and very rainy lately, especially out where we were, and that is... I don't know how you people down in the southeast do it. My hat's off to you. I'm used to a drier climate. Anyway, picked up a sweet little Sears rototiller, 8 horsepower Briggs with a... Oh, I thought it was a 3-speed, but it is high and low and reverse. That That would make kind of a sweet little drivetrain for a go-kart, wouldn't it? I don't know if I'll sell it like this or what I'll do. Kind of a shame to take it apart. But anyway, that's not what we're here about. Old Chevy artillery rim. Unfortunately, he just had one of those sitting around, but that was one of my grandpa's favorite rims. Would have been used a lot when he was a young man, and so that caught my eye and I grabbed it up. 41 Chevy Master Deluxe hood. I'll give you a better look at that when I get it out of there. All I need is the car to put under that bad boy. One of my favorite models. But, let me clear a little path here and we will get to the good stuff. Well, I was mistaken. It's a Special Deluxe, and I should have known because the Specials had kind of the train silhouette hood ornament. That's always what I've associated that with. Looks like a side of a locomotive. And the Masters had the Flying Lady wing head clear thing going into the swoosh. The prettier one. So that's a 41 Master hood ornament. It's still cool. Got all the louvers in it and everything. So, like I said, we'll hang it up for now, and maybe someday we'll get a car for it. So now we can begin to see the just the wonderful grandeur of all this antique Chevrolet horsepower. Mostly small block stuff, but there is a scattering of inline six stuff. Right there, 454 heads. I have the valve covers here somewhere as well. That is supposedly a 30s GM truck transmission. I need to look up the casting numbers. I will be looking up all the casting numbers on everything here eventually. I need to sort out some kind of storage, get a shipping container or something, and begin to sort all this out. I will be selling probably most of it. There may be some pieces here and there that I want to keep. The two of those orange heads right there are 265, the first small block. The orange ones next to it, that are right next to each other, they have 202 intake valves, so basically big old intake valves. About the biggest. I wish I could show you right now, but I'll have to wait till I get them out. The biggest intake valves you could sneak in there without interfering with the exhaust. So those are some high performance heads. Got a number, that block right there with the crank in it and the blue tag. That's a 327 truck engine. Only 2-bolt main. I have at least 2 4-bolt main small blocks. Most likely 350s. I believe that's going to turn out to be a complete 283. Heads are off, but obviously I'm not short of heads right now. I think that 6 standing up back there is a 235 or 261. I can't remember right now off the top of my head. That 6 is either a 230 or a 250. And I've got a 261 and a 235. I've got several heads. A couple of them are cracked in one spot for those old 6 bangers. Just lots and lots of stuff. There are lots of intakes for small block Chevy, 2 and 4 barrel underneath here. Here's one poking up kind of on the top, you can see. It's still got the 4GC Rochester before they switched over to the Quadrajet. I believe that might be 265 head right there, or head. Exhaust manifold, the other one's in among the heads. Man, just what else? All kinds. I have all kinds of sets of connecting rods and cast iron pistons for the early 6-cylinders. Here's a brand new sealed power 30 over set, probably for a 350. Lots of hardware, lots of push rods, lots of valve covers, lots of oil pans, 6-cylinder side covers, spark plug boot protectors. Goodness, just all kinds of stuff. It's going to be fun to go through. And he threw these in. These are kind of just an aftermarket small block Chevy aluminum valve cover. No script on them anymore. There's probably a sticker in the center there at one time. So, oh, and I think these are brand new. Brand new, probably for a 235 with insert bearings. Won't be able to get it all the way out right now. Brand new connecting rods. So there's that. Anyway, oh, and those marked with an S, those 3 right there. Oh, right there. Those are staggered bolt. Those are from a 265 also. I think, yeah. I didn't realize till now that I actually have 5 of them, but that's correct. So like I said, for now, I don't know what I'm going to do. Have no definite plans, but I need to come up with some storage, obviously. And once I start pulling things out of here, as far as heads, blocks, and maybe intakes, although they're not too important, I will start writing down casting numbers and marking them, so I'll know exactly what I have. And then, you know, if you guys are going to see something you want, you just give me a shout, shoot me an email, and I will probably be moving a lot of this stuff along. So there you have it. Yeehaw. Well, I'm back at the ranch. I should say the shop at work that I do some work in. The whole 66 C20 292 project took place right here. So in a perfect situation, I guess you could say, if I was able to just, you know, call up a storage container outfit, say drop one off at my house, I'd plunk a 40-footer down and just unload this into there. But I just cannot do that, at least not at this point. So unfortunately, and I could leave it in the trailer, I mean, we don't use this a whole lot, but I need to go through and see what we have here, and I just can't do that with it like this. So unfortunately, I guess at least most of the blocks and the heads I'm gonna have to pull out here, put them down to by the old Sierra Classic, and start taking numbers down, and all the tin and exhaust manifolds and some of that other stuff. I may even just take like the Stovebolt 6 heads straight home, and all the Stovebolt pistons and tin, oil bath air cleaner, stuff like that, that I know I'm not going to sell, and I can find room for that. I may just take them home. But otherwise, all this other stuff, we've got to go through it. So I'm going to get busy tearing stuff out of here, and we'll start checking out casting numbers. this is what we're looking like. I got all the individual pieces, all the tin, lots of connecting rods and pistons. Getting everything organized. Manifolds, getting those tagged and ID'd. Got all the small block Chevy heads tagged. The two 454 heads. I thought there was a 454 block also, but I was mistaken. Judging by the valve covers though, it's a newer engine with that junk on them. So what do we have left here? I've got all the 6-cylinder heads. Those are the newer style, those are the older style, and then all our blocks. So we'll get these out of here. Oh, and then of course all the old Stovebolt parts that I have found so far. But we'll take a look at that later. Alright friends, it's the moment of truth. What did we end up with? Well, we got a lot here. Some of it is pretty good stuff in my opinion. Let's start down here. Just old alternators, starter, you know, just I took it for parts. More pulleys and balancers than I'll ever need. More used oil pumps, lots of brackets. I like hanging on to these old spark plug protectors for the old ram's horns, anyway. Just tin, a box full of small block valve covers. Unfortunately, only one early one with the Chevrolet stamped in it, which you can't even see on that one. But he very well may come up with another one. You know, he's still going through stuff in his shed there, so he'll probably give us a call and we'll go pick up some more stuff. And then there's those aluminum valve covers with the bolts. Lots of small block connecting rods and pistons. These are from a Buick, 231 Buick it says. These are 30 over 350 pistons, brand new, sealed power. More odds and ends, fuel pump plates, fuel pump push rods, the old crankcase ventilation. We'll get back to that in a minute. There's the other piece of the old small block crankcase vent. Some bearing caps, I don't know what they belong to. Box full of head bolts and main cap bolts and push rods and various hardware. That's all valve train. Springs and valves and keepers and everything like that. He threw in an old Y pipe. You never know if you're going to need one of those. These manifolds are 6970 Pontiac 400/455 is what the casting number came up as. 230, so Chevy straight 6. The later design straight 6. I think these are both 230. Pistons and connecting rods. Let's do the intakes here. 58 to 61, 283, 230 horsepower. 62 to 64, 327, 300 horsepower. 62 to 63, 327, 250 horsepower. 57, 283. That's a good one right there. This 2-barrel and the manifolds are 265, could be 283 also, from 1957. That's a good little set there. That one is just off a 350 from the 70s. Oh, that's a good one. I mean, you know, 67, 68, 327 to 350. Basically your whole wide range of horsepower options back in the day. That's what that would have went on. An old 305 or 350 from the mid to late 70s, and then we got a couple of the later smogger junky things that had all the sensors and the vacuum and the EGRs and all that junk. This is a 66 Pontiac 326 or 400 intake, and this is just a good old-fashioned SM420 Muncie, probably late 40s, early 50s GM 4-speed transmission out of a truck. Let's do this first. 2 later style straight 6 heads, 250 and 292. I believe they're both good. Lots of small block heads, as you can see. These are 68 to 76, 70cc heads, 307, 327, 350. These are marked with little stickers 265, and I wrote that on there at the place. And I was going to look. Yeah, if you look at the valve cover bolts, they are staggered bolt pattern, so they're not straight across from each other. So, but when I ran the casting number, it came up as a 283. So 57 to 66, 283, 60cc. So I used to be good at identifying these casting marks, but I really don't remember them anymore. That's 20 years old information in my brain. 68, 69, 307 or 327 heads. 57 to 67, 283 or 327. 305, 350 from the late 60s through the 70s. Late 70s, early 80s heads. Not going to be too exciting. Okay, these three were 265, 283 heads from 58 to 62, 67cc. These are stagger bolt also. So early heads again. Then all 6 of these are the same. These are 350 heads, could be 400. Mid to late 70s, early 80s. So that'd just be what you'd commonly find on your 350 back in the day. Now these 2 back here are the 202 intake valves. So they originally would have come with a 172. Well, this one you can't see too well. There we go. Well, I'm missing a valve here and I'm missing a valve there. That's the size of the valve originally. You see, you know, you got a 1/4 inch at least there. Well, here, I mean, you couldn't put a frog hair in between those valves without getting it cut. Goodness, that's a big... If your engine suffers from asthma, you need these heads, because that sucker's gonna breathe. Anyway, that's pretty cool. High performance head there. This is late 70s through mid 80s. Smogger headers, you know, 267, 305s. Late 70s through 80s oval port, open chamber, 454 heads. And all the hardware. And the valve covers. Got the valve covers over there. All my Stovebolt stuff. Unfortunately, I have a cracked 261 head, 54 to 63. It doesn't really matter, I know. Now I've lost sight of that crack. And this one is also right there. I don't know if the light in here is not too great, but it's cracked right there between the valves. That's a 235. And then I have a second 235, same head. It's got no crack written all over it, so I'm assuming that one's good. All these parts I'm going to keep. I think I told you that already. Both flywheels are probably not from this, obviously, but just a little smattering of everything here. Alright, now we're going to get into the stars of the show. We're going to see what blocks we ended up with. I think we have some gems here and there, so you're going to like this. Anyway, very common 350 block here, most likely. Could have been a 302. And I should say, all I'm doing right now is I've just run the casting numbers on the back of the engine. You know, in time, maybe I'll get the stampings actually decoded and checked out, and we figure out what exactly it was in and where it was built and all of that. But for right now, just getting this sorted out so I can organize, figure out what I'm going to keep, what I'm going to sell, all of that. I just wanted to know really quick what I've got, and then I've got to get it out of here and into something else. Anyway, very first one, most likely 350. Possibly could be a 302, but I doubt it. 69 to 79. That's a 0010 casting number, 4-bolt. So a little hot rod motor there. This one, kind of a special one. A 1957 283 motor. No side mounts. So you see here on this next engine, you've got your common motor mounts there around that front water jacket freeze plug. And you can see here we've got no motor mount holes. So that is obviously a very early block, 57 283. 70 to 80 400 2-bolt, 400 small block. 69 to 73 307 2-bolt. Anybody that has that air of a car that would have originally had a 307, that's a good little motor if you need one. This next one, a little bit of mystery to it. It's a 388, 39 32 388. Most of the time that would mean 68 to 79 350. But it could also mean 69 302, as would have been found in a Camaro, let's say. Most of the time it would mean it's a 4-bolt main. If it was the 350, it is only a 2-bolt, so that very likely could be a 302. Again, haven't run the stampings, but that could turn out to be kind of a special little engine. This one almost complete other than heads and intake. 67 283. Nice little motor. This one, 327. 62 to 67 327. 2-bolt. This one, another 350 010 motor, 4-bolt. Good little block to rebuild. This one, another match to the blue one there. It's another 62 to 67 327. And these 327s, I tell you what, I'm tempted. If you've been around this channel very long, you know my 86 GMC project here. I've shown the motor for it a couple times. It's the original 305, and I kind of wanted to build it up as looking kind of retro from the 60s. So I painted it the Alpine green that GMC would have used back then on some of their engines. Ram horn headers. And I put a mild cam, matching intake, and Edelbrock carburetor goes on there. But I tell you what, these 327s kind of are calling my name. Instead of having a motor that looks like it's from the 60s, why not make kind of a nice little higher performance engine and put it in there? I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know. Here's a special little block. 1955 265, no filter, no side mounts. The very first small block right there, boys. Yes, sir. Someone's got a early Corvette or an early Bel Air 150, 250, and you want an original block to put in it. There you go. You can always tell these early blocks also. I pulled this breather out. That would have gone right in there. And this would have gone right down there. You can tell them because you've got your distributor hole there, and this is the breather hole. And that just did the same job as the road draft tube, or later the PCV valve system. Okay, let's get in 6 cylinders. 59 261. He thought there was a pinhole in one of the cylinders. Could be sleeved if a guy was really desperate for a big old Stovebolt engine. 58 261. I think it's good to go. Still got the gray paint on it. 58 to 62 235. Complete short block. Crank and pistons are still in there. Very rebuildable engine. And last but not least, just your 70s typical 250 Chevy. Even got the tin on it. All you need is the head, which is right over there. And you're good to go. So what's a guy going to do with all this? Like I stated earlier, at least I think I did, I would love to have a storage container dropped off behind my shed at home and just pack all this in it, arrange it nicely, sell it at my leisure. I wish I had a machine shop set up so I could go through them myself, rebuild them, send them out the door. But I don't, and I can't. So I am going to keep arranging, find places to store them. They will be going up for sale, at least most of them. I will probably definitely be keeping the small block, the Stovebolts. But if you see something you want, please do not hesitate. Send me an email. You can find my email, the button in the banner at the top of this homepage of this channel, or there's a contact area or something and it has my email there. But please don't hesitate to contact me if you want one thing. If you want them all, great, we'll come to a deal. You can have everything except maybe one of the 327s. I don't know. Anyway, please don't hesitate. There's a lot of good stuff here, but I will say this. The mechanic that I got these from removed them well used. You know, that these vehicles came to his shop because there was a problem. And he removed them and he stored them. Evidently, either the owner replaced the block or decided the vehicle wasn't worth an engine rebuild. And so the mechanic just stored them. He saw value in them. But that does not guarantee anything, really. Like this one here, he knew there were pinholes somewhere in a cylinder. You know, the 327 could have pinholes in the cylinder for all we know. So, you know, and I can't feasibly send every single one out to a machine shop and get checked out. I can't send 3 dozen heads out to get MagnaFluxed. Probably what I would do is give you 30 days, 6 weeks, something like that, to get it to a shop, get it checked out. And if you could prove to me through pictures and casting number that it was your head within that time period, I would refund your money or give you a different one or something like that. But anyway, you know, I have to draw the line somewhere. Please don't hesitate. Let me know if you need something. I sure appreciate you guys watching, coming along on this little adventure. Boy, I love that intake and carburetor. My first car was a 64 Impala. It was just a 4-door with a 283 Power Glide. And I was restoring it and bought similar intake and 4GC carburetor just like that for it. That just makes me want to, you know, start working here. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching. God bless you guys. I have got to get busy now and put this stuff somewhere.